aren't conspiracy theories anymore, because we're seeing the effect of the so-called conspiracy theories on the earth. Pedro, the local farmer, says that olive production is down, so he can't make his oil. Honey production is down. He's struggling to grow things like cabbages, pumpkins. Everything's being fried by the sun. So whatever's going on with the skies, whatever's going on with the sun is affecting food production on the earth. Farmers are struggling to produce food. So that's not a conspiracy theory, that's fact. And if you want to create a new world order where you have complete control of the whole food supply, of the water supply, of all the resources, then you have to come for the farmers, because farming is freedom. If you're growing food and you've got chickens and you're independent, they can't control you. So I believe that's what's going on. They're trying to stop people from actually growing their own food, producing their own eggs, producing their own meat, so they can have complete control and monopoly on all of the food production.
We just want to work, sell our crop, and have a decent life like everybody else. But if they would just leave it alone.
This trade war is going to impact literally every corner of the country. Some of those who are most uncertain about what this is going to mean is those in agriculture and farming. Like here, corn and soybean farmers and pork producers. Where does this trade war end?
I don't know where it ends. I hope it ends soon.
What is your message to the Trump administration?
Just stay out of it. I mean, if they would just leave it alone and let the free market do its job, everything would be okay.
This is going to be so far reaching, not just because of the Trump administration's tariffs of goods imported into the United States, but it's about the question marks in the days ahead about the retaliatory tariffs that the likes of China, Canada, potentially Mexico, and Europe are going to place on U.S. goods that are either produced, like corn and soybeans, or manufactured and sent overseas.
Data coming out this week, it shows a potential financial crisis in the making among American farmers. According to the University of Arkansas, from April of last year to March, more than 250 farms have filed for Chapter 12 farm bankruptcy. That's a huge number. University economists say bankruptcy filings in the first quarter of this year, they've already exceeded last year's total.
Nebraska farmers assess the damage from last night's hail.
Yeah, this is what just a few minutes of the storms did to fields near the village of Waco. For some farmers, this is the second year in a row they've seen their crops ruined.
KETV Newswatch 7's Andrew Ozaki shows us the damage in York County.
Gone in 15 minutes. That's the way Gordon Hayden describes what happened to his crops Monday night.
There's nothing to salvage on the crops. The hail came at a very bad time because the corn was just tasseling.
The hail, whipped by wind gusts up to 50 miles an hour, hit from all sides.
It looks like it's a blizzard outside. It's blowing that hard, and the hail just is good, literally going horizontal.
Shattering 2 windows on his home, knocking over his machine shed, and punching the side of a grain bin.
It caves the side in and it pulls it up off of the cement, so it's ruined.
But the real gut punch, this is the second year in a row he and his son have been hailed out.
2 years in a row. It's a hard pill to swallow, but that goes with it.
Just to the south, more grain bins toppled. These 2 were replaced from last year's storm. A center pivot knocked out a power line.
Pivots are down, bins are down. Corn is probably just about 90% gone.
Justin Chernicka and his dad are lucky. They didn't have the damage to equipment as other neighbors, but their crops also took a beating.
If we have some livestock, and if we can come in maybe and take this crop off and sow it to Sudan grass or turnips, we can get some pasture this winter.
They have insurance, but that only goes so far.
You have insurance, but that doesn't... Raising the crop is much better than harvesting insurance.
And hope for better luck next year.
After another grueling harvest, there's no rest for farmer Andrew Ward and his team in Lincolnshire. Combines need to be cleaned and fields cultivated. However, little to no rainfall since spring has meant arable farmers across the country are struggling.
So here we've got a heap of spring malting barley. This goes to make whiskey and beer. This crop was planted in March and harvested end of July. Now, normally this building, this grain store, the heap would be about 3 feet higher than it is now, and it would be full to the door. So we've got a very, very reduced amount of grain due to the dry weather. So the lack of rain has been catastrophic, especially to spring crops.
Activists say climate change is causing more extreme weather, whether that's droughts or flooding. But Andrew disputes the claim.
I've got rainfall figures going back 27 years. And for me, anything more than 100 millimetres of rain in a month is a lot of water. 1976 was an extremely hot year. That was years ago. That was like 50 years ago. And you look at it now, where we are today, and yet people are saying that it's the climate that's causing today. We were getting those problems and those weather effects years ago. It's the variations of weather that we get all the time.
Trouble at harvest soon has a domino effect, not only with the UK's food security, but livestock too. Straw and fodder shortages are already being reported, leaving some farmers starting to use reserves, usually left for the winter months. But even where crop yields have been average, Andrew says he faces selling his wheat and barley for less than the price more than 10 years ago.
The problem we've got at the minute is grain prices are really poor. At the moment we're selling grain now, feed wheat is around about £165, £170 per tonne. To put that in perspective, 2012, so that is like 13 years ago, wheat was £200 a tonne. So we were receiving £35 a tonne more 13 years ago. Yet the costs of growing that crop are not what it was in 2012. So whether it's fertiliser, whether it's agrochemical products, fuel as well, and labour, wages we're paying more for, national insurance, everything we're paying today's rate, but we're selling our crops at a lot less than it was in 2012. And that is not sustainable. It can't carry on. There are more farms for sale nationally than there has been for years. And that is the ones that people know about. There are a lot of farms that are now on the market and a lot of deals being done with people and friends and neighbours that is not publicised.
As another harvest goes by, farmers are warning that unsustainable costs mean more shed doors could soon be closed for good. Jack Carson, GB News, Lincoln.
Great-great-grandfather helped open this university. I am pissed, and I'm pissed at you because I have emailed you because it's easier for me than to try to talk on the phone without profanity. I would appreciate you taking your father's U.S. Constitution book, read it, study it, make your own lines underneath it, and get Trump out of office. The man is a dictator. He knows nothing about what he talks about. I listened to him for about a half hour today, and I got sick at all the lies he brought up. Now, I'm about ready to lose my farm. Do you know why? I'm sure you don't know why.
Lose your what, sir?
Farm.
Farm?
Yeah.
Why is that, sir?
Because Missouri does not have wills. They have trust. They have legal zigzags. And a trust most people don't know anything about. So I'm dealing with a state that's a crooked state, doesn't care about what farmers happen. The only reason why we have farmers today is because the federal government funds them. How much money of our tax money goes to farmers? Farmers work very hard, but they're funded by the federal government, not by selling groceries. That's what Foster Farms and all of those characters, that's where they get their money. The price of steaks, $20 a pound, because of big business. You want to straighten out the budget? Start taxing corporations and the wealthy, like we've been telling you. Do you think we're idiots? Do you think we don't pay taxes? Do you think that we don't have to make budgets? You talk about half-truths when I listen to you. You know nothing about taking care of children because you've always had a really good-paying job. You know nothing about what a working-class citizen does. Come down here. Come down here and start trying to pay your medical insurance. Come down here and walk into Costco to try to feed your family, to feed your kid that's moved out, to feed your great-grandchildren. I had a very good job in California, and I'm able to feed my family, and it goes all the way to great-grandchildren. You're not helping me. Believe me, you're not helping me. You need to take your head out of Trump's ass and start doing your representation of us.
We're here. We are here at the FAFO stage. This is really bad. And if you appreciate my content, please engage with this video. I'm just going to read this to you. Multiple Texas farms shut down after almost 100% of workforce vanishes overnight. In a stunningly swift overnight change, some Texas farm operations had to shut down after losing virtually all of their workforce, an exodus triggered by the increase in immigration raids and increased enforcement. The ripple effects of these raids are the gift that keeps on giving and will be felt nationwide. Unpicked crops are now left unharvested. Livestock were left untended, and rural economies are on edge. The story isn't just a tale of woe for Texas farms. It's a warning for American agribusiness, food prices, and communities that keep food on our plates. I need you to share this with every Republican you know. And you don't even need to wait for their response. They just need to know what's happening. And this is part of my line of work. I deal with commercial farmers, including these small farmers, as clients, and I cannot tell you how this is the beginning of the complete collapse of our economy under this Project 2025 administration that doesn't know what they're doing. You talk about the immediate shuttering of farms, because this is actually what's happening with the food, with the harvests that are lying there completely rotting. That is a loss of food to local food distributors, local grocery stores, local restaurants, hospitals. They sell their harvests, all sorts of vegetables, to businesses within the state of Texas. This is where you can go into your local grocery store, and now you're going to see hardly any vegetables or fruit, depending on what they're growing, or a shortage of meat. This is what's going to happen. Now, all of the other industries that support farming, you've got local pesticide, herbicide, fertilizer suppliers that are just, their sales are going to plummet. These farmers aren't going to be purchasing that. You've got H-2A workers who are now gone, migrant workers who are now gone. They were paying taxes. Even if they didn't have social security numbers, they were given tax numbers, tax ID numbers. So now you got millions of dollars just poof, gone overnight from these Texas communities. You've got trucking companies that are hired to haul the produce from the farms to the packaging plants. You've got packaging plants who wash the vegetables, grade the vegetables, pack the vegetables, whose sales are going to plummet. Now you're going to have other industries who don't employ either migrant workers or H-2A workers who are going to have layoffs. This is all...
Numbers have just come out that actually in some way make me happy, in some ways make me sad. See, in the first quarter of 2025, bankruptcies for farmers exceeded the 2024 total for the year. And in the second quarter, according to new reporting that just came out, they doubled last year's number. So the farmers that overwhelmingly voted for the administration we have are filing bankruptcies at a record pace. The last time farm bankruptcies were this high was during Trump's last term. For somebody that claims to love farmers, he sure just consistently hurts them. In fact, the last time it was this high was between 2018 and 2019. You would think maybe it was during 2020 and all that craziness, but no. This is all pre-pandemic Trump wonderful economic policies affecting farmers once again.
Little farm economics lesson into what farmers are dealing with right now. Corn 50 years ago, actually 51 years ago, 1974, hit an all-time high of $4 a bushel. And it ended up about $3 and into the next year in that $3 to $4 range. So what was the price of everything else back then? Combines, you could buy the biggest, baddest combine John Deere made for $35,000. You could rent land for $35, $30 an acre, $20 an acre sometimes. Today, land rent's 10 times that. You could buy fertilizer for a couple of $100 a ton. You could buy a house for $15,000, $20,000 and a car for $3,000 or $4,000. So you fast forward 51 years later, what are we looking at? Well, the brand new John Deere combine is just a little over $1 million. Land rent is anywhere from $150 to $300 an acre. Everything's gone up. Fertilizer, $800. Everything's higher. So what farmers are faced with is the same price of grain, but everything else going up in price. So the way we've dealt with this over the years is to consistently produce more and more and more corn. And this year, we're going to hit a record corn crop. So we've farmed our way out of this bad scenario to the point where the math no longer works. So next year, it's expected that a record number of family farms will file for bankruptcy in 2026. We had a record number just in the first quarter of 2025, and they think probably double that in 2026. This is way worse than when Willie Nelson came to the rescue in the 1980s. This is going to be catastrophic. This is the worst thing that farmers have faced in 2 to 3 generations, and nobody's really talking about it. We ain't had a real farm plan in over a decade. Nobody cares, both sides. Doesn't matter who you think you are supporting farmers. Neither side's supporting farmers. It's a bad situation. So people like me have gone out and started other jobs, like content creation, because we're trying to figure out how to make a living and feed our families and try to keep the lights on at the shop, because everything's fixing to go. We all know that when we go into next year, we're going to farm at a loss. We know that right now. Yet we're still going to do it because we love it that much. Maybe we're stupid. I don't know. But I just think that people don't understand what's happening with ag economics. And I know, look, I already know the comments are coming. Look at the guys in the new truck. You don't see me. You're going to see less and less of that. You're going to start seeing the bank owning those things. I know the comments are coming, but farmers are in dire straits right now. So what can you do? I really don't know, other than contact your representative and say, hey, what are we doing to help our farmers, particularly our smaller family farms? I'm not talking about the corporate guys. This is going to be very, very painful for a lot of people. And if you're in Mississippi, our #1 export is ag. So it's really important in Mississippi. I love you guys. Live life with passion. Yes, it's going to be a tough couple of years. Buy some books so that I can buy a new pair of shoes and maybe some seat covers for my old truck. I don't know. You guys have a great day.